Hi, I'm Adam Sparks, and I just came back from the Champ of Camps in Borrego Springs 2024 for Easter break. So I know leading up to this, I didn't know what to expect, how things worked. So I'm just going to tell you real quick, 4 areas when you go, what it's like, show you what it's like. And also every team, which is usually 4 people, have someone in charge, right? So they have to give you a big spiel on how everything works and show that to you. I'm hoping that this video will help relieve them of some of that responsibility and help people be trained faster, quicker, easier, that sort of thing. So there's 4 things I'm gonna go over, okay? First one's gonna be simulator setup. Second one's gonna be battery management. Work smarter, not harder. The third one's gonna be the arena or / cage setup and management. And the last one's gonna be free flying or the physical activity that you're gonna do. So there's usually 3 things going on during this event. So we're gonna go over those right now, and I hope you enjoy the video. It's about 15 minutes long. All right, so the first thing is the simulator setup. You're gonna get some laptops or the computers. In a case like this, there's gonna be 6 inside. You're gonna make sure your table's next to your arena. You don't want this big footprint where your kids are going clear across the room. A little common sense. You want to keep it all in the same area. So you're going to set the tables up with power strips, make sure you got electrical outlets for them, make sure the chairs are there, blah, blah, blah. It's all kind of common sense. Now each laptop needs a pin to turn it on. So that pin is 2003. If you got a chance, put it in your phone right now, put it on a note, something, write it down, 2003. And you also need to pair your laptop with Wi-Fi for the initial program launch every single day. Now the schools do have Wi-Fi. Your first day, it's a process. It's going to take a while. So I recommend you just use your own Wi-Fi or hotspot off your phone and then set it up to where once you get launched, you're fine. So once you got your computer launched with or paired with your Wi-Fi, you can launch the program. It's the T-Rex icon on the left-hand side. It takes a while to launch. Just be patient. Once it launches, you select flight, location, and what kind of drone you want to fly. Now make sure that all the controllers are on, the green lights, there's 4 green lights are on, and then test flight before the students actually get there. And I think you'll have a great time with these laptops. Of course, this is not everything, but it's the majority of things. I hope it was helpful. Here's a demonstration of what it looks like on top. Okay, so everything I just told you, I have a little checklist coming up to take you back through it, write down anything you missed, and please get a piece of paper and pencil, make sure you get it all. Thank you. Okay, the introduction to the drone. And let's join Mark as he speaks about the safety and how to use the drone with the kids.
But it is important to talk about safety as well. You wouldn't want the kids to reach inside the net or reach inside the drones. You want the instructors to handle all that stuff. The main controls for the drone are going to be from this controller right here. It's very similar to your average drone where the left stick controls going up and down and controls its turning while the right stick controls its movement. To power on one of these drones, all you need to take is a battery. Usually at the camp, so it'll be a small setup like this where we charge our batteries and everything. And they look like this, and you just plug it inside the bottom of the drone. And then the light will indicate that it's on. The next thing you want to do is turn on the actual controller itself. All you have to do is hold down the power button until you hear that second beep, then you can let go. And then to start the drone, what we want to do is take the left stick, hold it down into the left corner. It will turn the drone on, and then if you hold up, the drone will take off. And then the controls will be the same, just using the left stick to go up and down, the right stick to control its movement. You're just trying to teach the kids to be steady and in control of the drone so they don't crash into the wall or into the other instructors. And once they're more used to it, they can use the drone to go inside the big hole that's in the arena. To land the drone, we'll want to take the left stick and hold it all the way down until it hits the floor. And while at the same time, we hit this little trigger button up at the top, which also controls the drone's speed. Speaking of which, when we're flying and teaching kids, we want the kids to fly at the slowest speed. You adjust the speed by pressing this button up here, the same one that you use to turn off the drone. If you just press it normally, you'll hear different beeps. Each beep indicates the level of speed that it's at. 1 beep is the slowest speed, 2 beeps is the fastest, 3 is the max. 1 beep, slowest speed. And that's what you'll want the kids to be at before you hand them the controller. So one thing you will notice once you're teaching the kids is that when you hand them the controller, they touch everything. So there's going to be a high chance that they accidentally hit these buttons, especially if you're teaching them to land the drone, because it does require them to hit that button. So it's just up to the instructor to kind of notice when the drone itself is flying too fast or like out of control. You would just ask the kid to take the controller and you adjust the speed again. I like to hold it up to my ear when it gets loud and until you hear the beep again. Because I'm looking for the single beep. Single beep, now it's at the slow speed, and now it's safe to give to the kid again. Don't worry if it's like too fast or anything. These drones are very safe around people. It has a shell around it too to protect if it bumps off of anything. It's just easier to control for the kids when it's at a slower speed, and it also reduces damages if anything were to go wrong, like the drone hits the wall or a pole or hits the ground or anything.
And one more thing, what's the lights on it?
That's a great question. Let's bring it over here. So with the drone, like I said earlier, the controls are simple, with the right stick controlling it going forward, backwards, left and right, while the left stick controls going up and down and it's turning. The drone's always going to go in the direction that it's facing. Now what makes these different from, say, a camera drone is that you can always tell which way the drone is facing with the camera drone because it has a big camera facing forward at all times. So you always know which direction it's kind of going. With these, the circle is a little bit trickier, so that's why they installed these lights that go in the front and the back of the drone. So if you can see right here in the back of the drone, there's this little red light right there. That'll indicate the back of the drone. So if you want to make flying easy, you try to turn the drone so that red light's facing you, so you're facing the same direction as the drone when you're flying. This white light over here would indicate the front of the drone. So every time you hold forward on the right stick, the drone will go that direction where that white light is looking. The actual big cone right here in the center, that's going to be just whichever color that you want to choose for that drone. It helps you differentiate the other drones when you have multiple in the air at the same time. And you can change the actual color of the big cap by pressing the right trigger button. It'll say flip color LED. You just tap it and it'll change the color for the drone every time you touch it. My favorite screen. Flying up in the air, you'll notice that they won't last very long in the sky. Usually about around like 3 to 5 minutes of flight time, give or take, depending on the battery life and how much usage the drone's getting actually flying. So whenever it's low on battery, the cap will start blinking its color. That'll be a clear indication of when it's low on battery. When it's blinking the color on the cap, it's usually a good idea to keep an eye on the drone, because sometimes the signal to the controller gets kind of weak and then the drone gets a little crazy and starts doing its own thing. Sometimes it'll go faster than what it's actually set to. Sometimes just the control straight up won't work. Usually when you see it like that, it's a good idea to either take the controller from the kid or have them land the drone if they know how to do it already, and then swap out the battery. Usually there'll be another instructor inside the cage who will take out the battery. Whenever that happens, just grab the battery from here, turns off the drone, and then the controller will start flashing too and beeping. That just indicates that its drone that it's paired with is off. So also it's a good idea to turn these off when the drones go for a long time not in use. Now over here at our battery stations, we usually have these USB chargers that we plug in. All we got to do is put the battery inside the plug and then it'll be charging. And we usually have boxes here at every battery station that'll indicate where we put our dead batteries and where we put our charged batteries. It's also a good idea to have some batteries inside your vest. What I like to do is put in some pockets some good batteries that I can just put in a drone, and once they're dead, I put them in the other pocket. So every time I pass by a battery station, I can go ahead, unload the dead batteries, get them charging while refilling up on new batteries. Over here on the charging station, you'll see that they're flashing colors as well. You notice how this one is a solid green light while these ones are flashing red and green. The flashing red and green lights mean that the battery is still charging. The solid green light means that this battery is charged. So now we know that it's charged, we can go ahead, take it out, put it back in the charge pile, and then you can also tell that now it's also blinking red and green, which means that it's not currently charging a battery at the moment. So we'll use that opportunity to find other dead batteries and plug it in. It's always a good idea to make sure that batteries are charging at all times. You don't want to have just a bunch of dead batteries sitting around with these charging ports empty, because if we ever run out of batteries during one of these camps, there's nothing we can do. And then the kids are going to be sitting there, and then it'll be embarrassing on us.
In the location.
So now it's time to take the drones inside the cage.
One.
So this is the cage that we're going to be flying our drones in. As you can see, there's a big goal in there. It's very colorful. The kids love it. And it's nice because the nets prevent the drones from flying out. Usually we'd want one instructor inside to handle the drones, swapping out the batteries or resetting their position if they get stuck, while there's an instructor outside teaching the kids how to fly the drones themselves. The way inside is usually by a Velcro door over here that you're able to just open up, just come in, and then you can seal it tight again. We have our drones down. And also I'd like to mention that the drone arenas vary in size. So this one's pretty tiny. Usually have our younger children fly these kind of arenas, but sometimes we have some that are about twice the size. You'll know which one's the bigger one and which one's the smaller one. So now that we have our drone inside, we're ready to get started. Usually this will be the time to tell the kids about safety, not reaching inside the net, not grabbing the drones, listening to the instructor, and not crashing into the instructor pilot that's inside the net. We're going to turn on the controller. Our drone is on, and then we just start it as normal. That left stick down to the right, and then you just hold up again with the left stick. The main goal is teaching the kids how to fly with these, trying to be slow, careful, and in control. And once they're kind of used to flying and get an idea of how these things move around, try to get the ball through the hoop. In this case, these goals are really big. You can't really miss, so the kids love it when they get the ball through the hoop. We do have smaller goals for them too if they want to challenge themselves. But usually they get a few minutes of flight time, get some practice in, and then we land the drone, the normal holding the left stick down while pressing this left trigger button, the speed button at the same time. It'll turn off the propellers, and then we'll pass the controller on to the next kid until they all fly. And if they want to fly again, depending on how much time we have, we can let them go again. But yeah, that would be the main gist of how these are ran. There's usually other stations that we have set up as well. So over here, for example, we have some laptops that have a drone flight simulator game on there for the kids to play. Sometimes we have more open flying outside the arena where the kids will try to fly through obstacle courses.